2023 is a big year with the housing market, and we're trying to figure out. I'm guessing you're trying to figure out, should I rent? Should I buy? What should I do this year? And I believe there's some black swan events that are going to happen that is going to change the housing market. But I'm not going to talk about this alone. I'm going to bring my good friend on, Real Estate Mindset. How you doing, man?
I'm doing really well, sir. It is an absolute pleasure to see you, Orlando. I consider you a dear friend, so I just feel blessed to be here with you, brother.
Yeah, man. I really appreciate you even coming onto the platform, and man, you're a big YouTuber now.
Man, you know what's crazy, Orlando? I never saw it coming, man. My 1 year anniversary was basically March 1st. So, I mean, I'm blown away, man. I can't believe the growth on the channel, and really, I
Yeah.
can't believe the overwhelming amount of love from our viewers, from our subscribers. It's an absolute blessing and honor to be able to touch people and help them, and basically sound the alarm and caution people. It has been an absolute incredible journey, man. And you've been part of that, Orlando. You've strengthened me, brother. Thank you.
Man, no problem, man. Well, guys, if you haven't already subscribed to his channel, make sure you subscribe to his channel. Look, he's got 60K. Obviously, everybody likes him. So go ahead and make sure you subscribe to his channel. He has some great information. Man, he keeps people up to date. It really is. So please go and subscribe to his channel. I couldn't recommend him enough. So, but we're going to go ahead and jump into this. Is obviously 2023 is the year that a lot of people are saying that something big is going to happen to the housing market. And we're no different. We see a lot of things happening with credit card debt. We just saw the whole default of Blackstone.
Yeah.
And interest rates continue to rise. So here's a question that I have for you. What do you think will be the biggest factor of the housing market, housing prices on homes going down further?
Well, I'm going to be honest, man. I mean, now I know what you're asking, but I'm just going to
Yeah.
say the biggest factor with the prices were the low interest rates. It's not the prices aren't going down because the high interest rates. The
Right.
prices the prices went up. And they're going down because they went up too quickly and broke fundamentals.
Right.
So the reason we're in this situation is low interest rates. So I think that the Federal Reserve, the raising the interest rates, I think that's going to be the primary thing, like the inflation and the battle. But just taking a look outside of the unaffordability and outside of the inflation is so hard, Orlando, because we got consumer credit card debt, auto loans. We have short-term rental, Airbnb meltdown, long-term meltdown, commercial,
Right.
uh, and we don't even have unemployment yet, foreclosure yet. We don't have hypersupply. So, but where I think is going to be the biggest catalyst is going to be new home building. I think new construction,
Mm.
as always, is going to lead the way. It's going to pave the direction of this housing market. Same thing happened last time. We're seeing our already inventory skyrocket, absolutely skyrocket with new construction. The
Mm.
thing is, though, Orlando, is not all the metro areas have an overwhelming amount of new construction like my metro area is. I live in Texas. Texas is the #1 state of new construction. So I can open my door and within probably a 10-mile radius, I have maybe 6, 7 new communities of new home building. So I think what's happened, especially in like Austin, Phoenix, Las Vegas, is many of these builders, and I'm talking like the big builders, D.R. Horton, Lennar,
Mm-hmm.
Pulte, right? I think in markets like Phoenix, Austin, Las Vegas, I know because I flew there and I got out of a plane and I drove to these communities myself. They're overexposed, Orlando. I was able in Phoenix. I think Phoenix is in such bad shape, and people don't realize it. I went specifically in Phoenix to Copper Canyon and Desert Oasis, and in that general area, I was able to find thousands and thousands of homes at various stages of construction
Hmm.
that did not have buyers. And I know they didn't have buyers because before I did the video, I walked into the sales agent and I was like, "Hey, I'm a naive buyer. Will you talk to me?" I'm kidding, I didn't say that, but they would have treated me differently if I would have, because
Right.
they don't like most of the time talking to realtors. But
Right.
man, when I went there, I felt like almost every rep was depressed, and they knew that like I got to sell one house and I have 1,000 available, right?
Mm.
So there were multiple offices that I went to where there was no one there. They got these multi-million dollar developments and communities, and there's not even a sales agent. And how much do you even pay sales agents? Minimum wage? Well, that's what they're worth, in my opinion. But I think it's going to start with new construction. The reason I think that is they're overvalued to begin with. The overwhelming amount of inventory skyrocketing, demand is
Mm,
being absolutely crushed, and I think we're going to see massive price cuts with new builders, man. And I think that's going to lead the catalyst because there is still room for these new home builders to go down probably another 20-30% and still
mm,
remain profitable. But what that does in turn is it traps all of the recent owners for one. But here's the thing. It's going to create a battle, a price drop battle between new construction and resale houses. I'm like yelling this out like in
mm.
my area because I'm already seeing it, man. And I do market analysis and I show people like, okay, here's all the new construction, here's the average price per square foot or the median sales price. And I've seen multiple houses, new construction in my local market already being priced under resale value. And guess what happens when they do that? It sells.
Hmm.
It
Now,
sells.
here's the thing: is that, like you said, you've been that's it's commendable, guys. He's flying all over the country, looking at these and looking at these developments and going to cities and getting feet on the ground. So it's very commendable. But
Thank you.
here's the thing: is that when I saw that, places like Phoenix and Austin, and when you look at their Airbnb situation of all of these vacancies, the how many Airbnbs are available, and also when you look at all of these guys as far as debt and credit card debt
Yeah.
and all that other stuff and all the other quote unquote what you just kind of went off of as far as black swan events. Now, do you see that all of those things together will, crush like I'm talking about just Phoenix area. Do you
Oh,
see like all of those things will just, crush that market to the point of, that 20-30%, drop that you're talking about? Or do you think it's just one of those things that could just make the market drop?
that's really hard. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because if you look at places like Seattle, I went to Seattle. Seattle
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have an overabundance of new construction, yet they're probably the top 10 leading metro for price decline. And I was like
Yes.
thinking to myself, like, dang, like, how is it price declining when they don't even have any inventory? And the answer to that question, Orlando, is what I believe. Well, it's crime, maybe some radical politics or whatever, but it's
Mm-hmm.
also unaffordability. So I think the unaffordability alone is enough for price drops, but I don't think unaffordability alone is enough for a 30% price drop. I think
Mm.
if you're going to want to see 20 to 30% price drops, you're going to have additional elements in your local housing market. Now, obviously, a black swan can come in, credit card debt, auto loan, all of these things that we mentioned and crush everything. But in places like Phoenix, where you have in a plethora of all of these things, I absolutely think it's going to go down in total. Oh, I think it's going to go down over 30% in Phoenix. But
Right.
I don't necessarily think that we need multiple black swan events to happen simultaneously to have that 20-30% drop. I believe that the new construction alone in Phoenix
Mm.
area is enough to bring those prices down 20 to 30%,
Yeah.
especially Copper Canyon, Desert Oasis. Have you ever heard of those? Like, no one's ever heard of
No.
those. I
No.
had to fly there because the realtor's like, no, don't come here. It's fine. You don't need to see anything. So I'm like, nah, I'm going to go there and I'm going to see for myself. And so I think that alone is enough.
Go
Um,
figure, a realtor would say that.
oh my gosh, man. But I mean, everything else I think just adds to
Uh,
it. So like places like where Seattle, and other, even in places like Florida that they do not have that abundance of new construction. I think in places like that, Airbnb, short-term rental, long-term rentals, those are going to be the areas that need those black swans or the cracking in those, sectors
mhm.
to happen in order to come to more a balanced affordability in those markets, right?
Right,
Because again,
right,
I'm blessed with the new construction. I'm good, but like, what
right.
about St. Louis? What about Seattle? So that
Yeah.
again, I think in those areas we're gonna need those types of meltdowns, short term, long term, even consumer debt. I think we're gonna need some more pain there for it to experience the more hefty price cuts.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that portion as far as, we've seen a lot of I would say fight back from areas like especially the coastal cities. Like you look at like Florida,
Yeah.
and I get in my comic section all the time. But prices haven't dropped here. Miami, prices haven't dropped here. Orlando, prices haven't dropped here. And I tell people all the time, you have to have patience. We it took us 2-3 years to get to where we are, right? And it probably longer than that, but the point is it's not going to turn around tomorrow. And like you just said, pointed out that it's, areas like this, they're fighting back as far as that price decline. But places like Phoenix, Austin, Boise, areas like that, now we're starting to see some areas like San Francisco
Yeah.
getting hit harder and harder and harder. They're starting to deteriorate faster than these other areas, and it's to be expected. But here's a question I want to continue on: is everybody's focusing on interest rate, and we know currently interest rates right now are at 8%, a little bit over 8%. Where do you think interest rates will go, for one, and are interest rates important, in general?
Oh my God, they're important, man. I mean, we saw how important they were because when they dropped in the 2s and 3%, it was almost like a whole nother subprime situation. Because when they drop that low, it's it's opening the floodgates of demand. So when
Yes.
it's when your rate is 2% and you just got $8,000 in stimulus, you got a free down. It wasn't free. We're paying for it now, but
Mm-hmm.
you kind of got a free down payment. You got a 2% interest rate, so now you can afford a $500,000 house, and then
Right.
top that with no inventory on top of that because of the lockdowns, right? The interest rates, as we're learning with this bubble and with this crashing, it's the leading indicator. I mean, where the rates go, the prices are going to go opposite. If the rates go down, prices may shoot up. That's what we saw recently. Rates went down slightly under 6% just for a little while. And look, and all these inflation reports obviously came out horrible. And I believe, Orlando, this month we're going to see the next couple of inflation reports going to get nasty. They're going to get
Mm,
nasty because the rates went down before their work was done. So the
mm.
rates, and this is what I'm saying, the rates right now, whether we like to admit it or not, I know we have these black swan events, are everything. The Federal Reserve put us in this situation from low rates. They're trying to get us out of the situation with high rates. The rates are everything. Now, here's the thing. If people don't learn, if people don't learn and they still go, you know what, 7% house went values down, went 15,000, great incentives. Let's YOLO and get this house and move on with our lives. If they keep doing that, man, then the
Right,
rates are going to go
right.
higher. Now, if people settle down, stop spending their money during the busiest time of our year that we're about to be in, so if they do that, which I don't think they're going to do that because history tells us that people are reckless spenders, right? Especially in this market.
Right.
Uh, I don't think that the rates will go up much higher than what they're at now. But again, I don't believe that's going to happen. I believe the minute that people think in their minds that it's time to buy, they're just going to buy despite payment, interest rate, and affordability. And that's a
Mm.
sucky thing. And that's something that we want to prevent. We want people purchasing real estate based on logic and financial savvy, understanding what a good deal is, understanding walking into equity, walking into wedge, cash flowing in an emergency situation, right? What does that look like? Maybe 10% down, paying the PMI off, whatever. But again, I just don't think that's going to happen. I think as we get closer to summer, Orlando, I think that people are going to buy. And I really think the rates, and this is hard because again, we're not in control. There's so much
Right.
different data. There's so many people saying different things in high power. But I think that rates are just. I think for the most part, they're going to be the trajectory is going to be up until fall. And I'm basing it on the
Mm.
10-year, not the federal funds rate, but that 10-year treasury.
Right.
Because remember, demand comes back strongest in the next few months, spring
It
and
does.
summer. So if demand is going to come back stronger in those months, to me, it would make more sense then to at that time raise interest rates. Because by doing so, if they raise interest rates in the treasury and things go up, by doing that, you're going to continue to cripple demand. And as demand continues to be crippled, we're only going to get more inventory. So the inventory should continue to build and build and build. And hopefully, by year's end, we'll be back at pre-pandemic inventory levels, not just based on months of supply, which is a better indicator in my opinion, but I'm talking active units. I want to see active units million. I want to see it this year. I think we're going to hit over a million this year. The minute we have hyper supply, and that's another black swan. To be honest with you, if we had hyper supply right now, Orlando, jeez, people are lucky we don't have hyper supply because like it's not an entire reg pool, right? If we had hyper
Right.
supply and then all this other stuff, like you're done. That's what happened to me last time. But
Yeah,
I think it's a big deal. I think as we go into the spring and summer hot months, I think we're going to be sitting in the mid sevens, even knocking on 8. And I'm talking with people with good credit, not the normal rates. Like the normal rates are pushing 8 right now, right?
right.
Like normal people. I'm talking like
Right.
good credit, well established people, 7.5%, 8%. I don't know, man, if that's going to happen because I know there's a lot of other things to look at other than just the housing
Right.
market when they're raising the federal funds rate, and a lot of people get hurt. But dude, the pain has barely even started yet. We're not even a year into this, and we have double
Three
digit equity
months.
decline, and we
Three
have double.
months. Three. Yeah,
It's,
it's insane.
it's
It's
insane.
insane. It really is. And so, that does suck. And, and
Yeah.
I feel the same exact way as far as, I hope that individuals that are watching this video or watch our videos, that they take out of the point that you have to buy these homes and you have to buy things that make sense and are
Yeah.
affordable for you, and not to just jump at the first thing that comes your way, not the first thing that someone tells you is a good deal. You have to do your research. You have to pay attention to your local market. But with that being said, man, I really appreciate you coming onto the channel, man. Man, like I said, guys, this is a big YouTuber now on my channel. And I really appreciate you coming on, man. Guys, make sure that you go to his channel and check out his channel, and please subscribe to him. I vouch for him. He is a great content creator. He's very smart, knows what he's talking about. So, guys, please make sure you go ahead and do it. Do you have anything, any last words to say before we go ahead and jump off?
I always got some last words to throw out there, man. I'm just going to say it like this. All right. This is just my opinion. I didn't even tell Orlando what I'm going to say. But when it comes to the biggest financial transaction of your lives, you need to treat it like the biggest financial transaction of your life. And this is what I'm saying, guys. The sooner you buy right now, the more at risk you're going to be. The longer that you wait and have the discipline and the self-control, work on credit, income, assets, the more likely, because no one has a crystal ball, but the more likely it is that you're going to get the deal of your lifetimes. But what's happening right now is like all these different entities and parties are trying to shake us loose. All right. Well-positioned buyers like myself on the sideline that are waiting. They're trying to shake us loose. They're trying to make us fear once again. That's what we saw in January and February. And they're trying to just have us jump into the housing market because someone's got to pay. And it's not going to be me. And I don't want it to be you guys. And that's what I would have to say.
Man, I appreciate it. That was awesome words, man. So go ahead and hold on for a second here, real estate mindset. But anyway, guys, as always, make sure that you just don't watch this one video, that you watch this video here. It will help you understand what's going on in this crazy housing market, get into your first rental property, and just financial news. I promise you the information you will get from it will be gold. And I will see you on the next one. Thanks.